I made my daughter shed all these crocodile tears, and it's because on the day of her wedding, I decided to gift a house and a car to my niece instead of my daughter. And you might be wondering, well, why in the world would I wait for her wedding to embarrass her and do that? Well, guys, I'm going to tell you that, but first of all, you need to know this. I wasn't the one who embarrassed her first. She embarrassed me in front of a lot of people, and this story involves her stepfather. Ugh. You would think after everything we went through, my daughter and I would be closer than ever. But lately it feels like I'm losing her all over again, and this time it's the one person who abandoned us when we needed her the most, her mother. Let me start from the very beginning so you can understand how I got to this point. My name's Carlos, I'm 46, and I've been a single father for the past 7 years. My daughter Steph is 21 now and recently engaged, but it's like everything I've worked for and everything we've gone through is being undone right before my eyes. 7 years ago, Christina, my ex-wife, ditched us. She packed up and ran off with another man, Jonathan, leaving me to raise our then teenage daughter on my own. I'll never forget the sadness in Steph's eyes the day her mother walked out on her. Christina did not just leave me, she left. Both of us, without second thought, to start a new life with old Jonathan. Ugh, wow. She chased her own happiness at the cost of her family, and I was left picking up the pieces of our shattered lives. Raising Steph alone was not really easy. There were countless sleepless nights, money problems, and the emotional toll of trying to be both her mother and father. I won't lie, there were times I felt like I wasn't enough for her. I wasn't prepared for the heartbreak or the responsibility of having to guide a teenager through life. But I did it. Somehow we survived those years together, and over time we built a life, just the two of us. Steph always stayed in contact with her mother, though as much as I hated Christina for what she did, I couldn't bring myself to cut her out of Steph's life completely. I figured that if Steph wanted that connection, I would not be the one to stand in her way, no matter how toxic that relationship had become, and it was toxic. Christina emotionally manipulated Steph, constantly, always making all these false promises. Empty words about visits that never happened, and gifts that never ever arrived. Still, Steph kept in touch with her, holding on to the hope that maybe one day her mother would change. I didn't like it. I really didn't. But I let it happen because I didn't want to break my daughter's heart by telling her that she was wasting her time. I thought that Steph would eventually see Christina for who she was, selfish, unreliable, and incapable of giving her the love that she deserved. For years, I was the one picking up the pieces every time Christina let Steph down. I was the one Steph turned to when her mother broke another promise or made me, her feel unworthy. And while it was painful to watch, it only made the bond between Steph and me stronger. Or so I thought. Now, things have changed. Steph is engaged to her boyfriend, and I'll be honest, I wasn't happy about it. I didn't think she was ready for marriage, and I had my concerns about the guy she chose. But Steph's an adult now, and I've tried to support her decision all her life, even if I don't agree with him. That's part of being a parent, right? Letting your kids make their own choices even when you know that they might be wrong. Well, so recently Christina has come back into our lives in a way that's hard to ignore. She's promising Steph a lavish wedding, something I could never afford on my own. And since those promises started, Steph has been spending more and more time with her mother. I see it happening in front of me, and I can't stop it. Christina's luring her in with the kind of things, and Steph has always just straight up wanted. A dream wedding, a rich lifestyle. She's offering Steph everything I can't. And now I'm the one being pushed to the side. The change in Steph is heartbreaking. She's more distant with me, does not share things with me like she used to. And when she talks about the wedding, it's always about what her mother is doing for her. It's like I'm invisible now, just like when Christina first left. I can feel my daughter slipping away from me no matter how hard I try to hold on to her. I'm not blind to what's happening. Christina has a way of getting into people's heads, especially Steph's. She knows exactly what to say to make Steph feel special, even if it's all an act. And I'm afraid that Steph is falling for it again. But what can I do? I can't compete with the things Christina is offering Stephanie. I can't give Steph the dream wedding that her mother is dangling in front of her like an absolute jackpot. But I also know Christina. I know that she's unreliable, that her promises are as fake as ever, and that she doesn't really care about Steph's happiness. She is in this for herself, as she's always been, but I don't exactly know why. It would not surprise me if this whole wedding offer was just another way for Christina to play the hero for a while before disappearing again, leaving me to clean up the mess. And I'm scared that when that happens, Steph will be hurt all over again. I've been in this role for so long that the one who picks up the pieces after Christina pulls yet another heartbreaking stunt on Stephanie. But this time it just feels different. This time I don't know if I'll be able to repair the damage once Christina inevitably disappoints her again. Steph has never been this distant with me before. I've always been her constant, the one person she could rely on. I don't know. Now I feel like I'm losing her to the same woman who caused her so much pain in the first place. It's hard not to be a bitter person about this. I spent years sacrificing everything for Steph, working extra hours to make sure that she had what she needed, being there for every school event, every heartbreak, and every moment her mother wasn't. And now Christina comes back with her flashy promises, and suddenly I'm the one being sidelined. It feels like all these years of struggles I endured to give Steph a stable life are being erased by Christina's presence. I'm also skeptical of Christina's intentions. After all these years, why is it that she's so interested in Steph's life now? Why is she so eager to throw money at this wedding when she could not even be bothered to show up for Steph's birthday or even graduations? There's something off about this whole thing, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe I'm just paranoid, or maybe I'm right to be a bit cautious, Either way, I'm stuck. I don't know how to handle this without pushing Stephanie even further away. That's why I'm reaching out for advice. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to confront Christina to tell her to back off and stop messing with Steph's head, but another part of me knows that doing so could make things worse. Steph might see me as the bad guy, the one trying to ruin her happiness, and I can't risk it. I can't risk losing Steph completely. At the same time, I feel helpless. I want to protect Steph from getting hurt again, but how can I do that when she's so engrossed in the dream wedding Christina is selling? I don't know if I should step back and let her figure it out on her own, or if I should try harder to warn her about what's coming. All I know is that I can't bear to watch her get crushed by Christina again. But I also can't force her to see the truth if she's not ready to. So here I am, stuck between trying to protect, be the father, or not wanting to push my daughter further away. If anybody has any similar situations or have advice on how to handle this, I could really use it right now. I just want to do what's best for Steph, but I don't know what that is anymore, so guys, tell me what the hell I should do. Update number 1. Hey everyone, it's me again. I wasn't planning on updating so soon, but things have taken a turn for the worse, and I honestly don't know what else to expect, what's been going on. Maybe putting it all out there will help me make sense of it all, or at least stop me from losing my mind completely. So, a few days have passed since my initial post, and I wish I could tell you things got better, but they didn't. They got worse, much worse, and if you thought I was sad while writing my initial post, then you can't even imagine my sadness right now. What if I feared the most has happened? Steph has invited me from her wedding. I can't go. I still can't believe I'm even writing these words. I'm uninvited. My own daughter, who I've raised through everything, doesn't want me at her wedding. It's like a nightmare I can't wake up from, and I always dreamt of walking her down the aisle and being there for her on one of the most important days of her life. And now, instead of me, the privilege is going to go to her rich stepfather, Jonathan, the man Christina left me for. Steph just randomly told me that Jonathan would be better suited to walk her down the aisle, and then she went ahead to uninvite me from the wedding, saying that it might make Jonathan and her mother uncomfortable. Can you believe this crap? I can't even describe how that feels. To know I've been replaced like that, not just by Christina, but by him too. The man who stepped into her lives when she walked out on them. And now he's the one who gets to stand beside my daughter to give her away? This is just like all because of Christina. She's been poisoning Steph against me for years, and now she's finally succeeded. Christina's always been manipulative, but I never thought that she would stoop this low. I thought at the very least she would leave the father-daughter bond alone, but no. She couldn't help herself. She had to ruin that as well. I mean, I really can't believe that Christina's helping Steph out of the goodness of her heart, because that can't be right. It's Christina we're talking about, and she's too selfish to care about anyone else. Even her own daughter. I mean, if the woman didn't care about her own daughter when she was just a teenager and ditched her for a man, what can you expect from her? I'm not stupid. I know Christina doesn't care about Steph the way she's pretending to. If she cared, she would have been there for her when she was younger, when she needed a mother, but she wasn't. And now suddenly she's throwing money around, promising to pay for the entire wedding. She even promised Steph that she'd gift her and her husband a house to move into after the wedding. Yeah, a whole house. Can you believe it? I can't. It doesn't sit right with me. There's no way Christina's doing this out of love. This woman has always been selfish. Everything she does has some ulterior motive. She's never done something without expecting something in return. And I'm sure that she has some angle here, some way this benefits her in the long run. Maybe she wants to control over Steph's life, or maybe she's trying to show off in front of Jonathan, playing the perfect mother to cover up her past mistakes. Well, whatever it is, it's not about Steph's happiness. That much I know for sure. I've spent the last few days replaying everything in my head, trying to figure out how we got here. How could Steph be so blinded by Christina's promises that she's willing to cut me out of her life just like that? It hurts more than I can even put into words. I've been there for Steph through everything, and now I'm being tossed aside like I never even mattered at all. Part of me is angry, angrier than I've ever been, but more than that, I'm heartbroken. I thought Steph and I bonded, and it couldn't be broke. No matter what Christina tried, but I guess I'm wrong. Christina's money, her promises of a lavish wedding and a new house, it's won over years of my love and sacrifice, and it's breaking my heart. But I'm not just going to sit here and take it. I know Christina's up to something, and I'm going to find out what it is. So that's where I'm at, guys. I'm trying to look for things to find out what Christina's been up to, and why she's come back like the best mother in the world after all these years of ignorance. I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, if any of you have any suggestions that might help me, I will be most grateful. I'll update you guys once I find something. Update number 2. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm back with another update, but this time it's a lot more intense than before. It's been a few weeks since my last post, and I found some shocking things that I never expected to uncover. I wish I could say I'm feeling better, but honestly my head is still reeling from what I found out. I've been digging into Christine's motives, talking to her friends and relatives, and what I found out is infuriating and deeply hurtful. So here's the deal. Christina isn't just trying to win Steph over for the sake of being a good mother. No, it's much more complicated than I thought. I just found out that the only reason Christina wanted to reconnect with Steph was because of her father's inheritance. So basically, Christina's dad is sick and most likely on his deathbed. But he has told Christina that she'd only get the inheritance if she was there for Steph. So it's all about money. Christina isn't worried about Steph or being a good mother. She doesn't want to lose the massive inheritance her father has for her. And guys, let me just tell you, it gets worse. Her husband, Jonathan, is also in on this. He has his sights set on Christina's father's old property, which he plans to turn into a commercial stay. They see dollar signs and they don't care who gets hurt in the process. This whole dream wedding thing and the fake promises, it's all part of their evil plan. I've always known Christina was selfish, but I never imagined that she could stoop this low. Using our daughter as a pawn in her game? I've spent the last few days trying to wrap my head around all this. Christina has manipulated Steph into believing that she genuinely cares about her. But in reality, it's just a means to an end. Once Christina gets what she wants, once the inheritance is secured and she has access to the property, I have no doubt in my mind that she plans to ditch Steph. She's going to cut ties the moment she gets the money, just like she cut ties with us years ago. It's infuriating and heartbreaking all at once. Really. Tomorrow is Steph's wedding. I know that many people would think I should warn her about her mother's intentions, but honestly, I'm not planning to do it. I feel like Steph needs to learn a lesson the hard way. She's the one who made the choice to uninvite me, to throw away the love and support I've given her throughout her life, and all for the empty promises of a woman who has always put herself first and has hurt her over and over again. She's the one who chooses to believe in her mother's lies at the cost of cutting her father off completely. So I guess she should now face the consequences of her choices. I mean, what do you think? Anyways, as a father, yes, it does pain me to even think about watching my daughter walk down the aisle without me, but I believe that she truly needs to learn a lesson. Yeah, and it's not just about the wedding, it's more about our bond now and the values that I imparted to her. If she can do so easily be swayed by Christina's money and false promises, what does that say about her values? I want her to realize what a stupid mistake she made when she chose her mother's money over her father's love. For the first time in Steph's life, I'm not planning to be there for her when her mother breaks her heart. I've done that enough, and in the process, I've been taken for granted. I undermined was by my own daughter, whom I prioritized over everything else in my life, so I guess now it's time for Steph to learn what a big mistake she's made. Tomorrow's the wedding. I won't be going, of course, since my own daughter has uninvited me, but I'm sure as hell waiting for it. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens when Steph finally finds out Christina's real intentions. So I'll keep everybody posted after the wedding. Thank you for listening, everyone. Your support means more than I can express right now. Update number 3. This is the final update of the story. Hey guys, it's Carlos, and I'm back with another update for everybody, probably my last, and I'm sure that you're all curious about what's happened since my daughter's wedding. Sorry to keep you guys waiting for so long, but a lot of things were happening, and I just could not find the time to update here. To say it's been a roller coaster would be an understatement. It's now been more than a month since the big day, and let me tell you, it did not turn out as anyone expected. I'm still trying to process everything that's happened, so let me run you through it. First of all, yes, my daughter did get married, but it was far from the lavish event that she was promised. The arrangements were basic at best. Her rich stepfather, Jonathan, walked her down the aisle, which, to be honest, broke my heart. In a way, it was good that I wasn't there to watch it all happen, as it would have hurt me more, because despite all the drama leading up to the wedding, I thought maybe, just maybe, she would realize her mistakes when it mattered the most. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Fast forward to the week after the wedding. Steph returned from her honeymoon, eager to move into the house Christina promised her. But when she called her mother, there was no answer. To say she was mad would be an understatement. She called me all furious, asking if I knew where Christina was. Naturally, I played dumb. I already knew that Christina had dipped the moment she got her hands on the inheritance money and the property. It was all a part of her selfish game, and Steph was just a pawn in it. Due to no house being there for Steph and her husband to move in, they ended up living with her in-laws, and I could hear the frustration in her voice as she told me about it. Her mother had vanished without a trace. It's funny how the tables turned. The woman who had been abandoned her for years and now ghosted her right after getting what she wanted. Now here's where things get really interesting. Just last week, it was my niece's wedding. Basically, Steph and my niece, Anna, were planning their weddings at the same time, but Steph did not want anyone to steal her spotlight, and she wanted to arrange a better wedding. Ironically, my niece had to postpone her wedding because Steph wanted her to happen first. But, there we were, at my niece's wedding, and it felt a bit bittersweet. I'd saved money to buy a house and a car for Steph as a wedding gift, but considering she had uninvited me, well, I'm going to gift those to my niece instead, duh. So, get this. The moment Steph saw me handing over a key to a house and a car to Anna, her expression shifted from happiness to rage. She actually erupted, like fake tears, crying, about how her own father didn't care about her. These people around us were moved. It didn't affect me much, though. I knew Steph was just trying to be emotional and manipulate me, and I didn't let her. When the emotional manipulation didn't work, she started throwing things around, shouting at me about how I could do this to her. I told her that she was the one who ditched me to replace me with her stepfather. If she really wanted Jonathan to play her father role, then why did she ask for these gifts? Soon after I actually left, I wasn't going to stick around for her temper tantrums a second longer. But what happened next was even more shocking. Apparently, Steph created a massive scene at the wedding, making her in-laws and husband furious with her. From what I heard, her husband is filing a divorce. He simply can't handle living with someone so violent and aggressive. A few days later, she called me crying, asking for help to convince her husband not to leave her. But I was having none of it. It was time for her to face the consequences of her actions, to be honest, and so I went and cut the call after telling her that she should contact her stepfather, because he was the one she ditched me for, right? Yeah, exactly. But wait, guys, it actually gets funnier. Apparently, even her mother is having a tough time reaching Jonathan. Once they got their hands on their inheritance money, Jonathan auctioned off Christina's father's properties and took off with the cash under the pretense of some investment. Turns out his rich life was all a facade. He was deep in debt and was desperate for money. Christina is now madly trying to find him, and I can't help but feel it serves her right. After all, she ditched her own daughter twice for that man, once when she left me and once again when she vanished after the wedding. As for Steph, I've completely cut her off. It hurts, but I have to put up my own well-being first. I won't be her emotional punching bag anymore, someone she turns to only when her mother breaks her heart. She's still trying to convince her husband not to leave her, but from what I heard, he's not budging. Right now, she's living in a friend's studio apartment, sharing it with 5 other people. It's not the ideal situation, but this is the life she chose for herself. Let me rephrase this. This is the life her choices led her to. I can't say if it's easy for me, though, because I'm still trying to heal from the heartbreak my daughter left me with. Watching her make these choices, choosing other people over me, knowing that I've been there for her when no one else was, stings. It's hard to let go of this, but I know it has to be done. I've been taken for granted for far too long, and it's time to prioritize my own mental health. Thank you and goodbye.